Well, here's one of our people who've been watching the live chats. We do these live chats every third Sunday, so watch for them. But anyway, this person asked, in one of your live chats, you mentioned color guiding the eye. What does that mean, and why does it matter? Let's play with that just a little bit. We usually think of color as being just something that describes something else. Red apples, yellow lemons, green grass, that sort of thing. And in painting, a lot of times that's the only thing people will be considering. But what we're doing in our paintings, in addition to describing things, we're also telling the viewer where to look. And we can use color to tell the viewer where to look, and that guides the eye. And one thing that color can do, other than describe, is by, well, it's not the color itself, it's what we do with the color. We can repeat the color, and we can repeat differences in color, and where we repeat it, the eye wants to go, especially if the color is different from the color within which it's being repeated. Now we have 12 different colors to work with, and the way we combine those colors determine how we guide the eye through the painting. It's very simple. Well, I can't show you all that in one little quick tip, but I just want to play with some color just a little bit to show you what I mean by color guiding the eye, and maybe a couple of ways that you can use color to guide the eye. So there were the 12 colors. One thing we know about color is that colors that are opposite each other on the color wheel, on the traditional color wheel this works, on most color wheels it works somehow, but I like the traditional color wheels. Anyway, the colors that are opposite each other, when mixed together, will neutralize each other, and they have a different effect. So, but we also know that colors that are related to each other on the color wheel, we call those analogous colors, help create color harmony. So that's another thing color can do. So color can create harmony, it can guide the eye, it can create, it's the way we use it. We can do these things by the way we place the color in order to guide the eye. Well, let's just play with, I just want to play with color, just as color, not color to describe or anything like that. Now I'm just going to choose two colors to play with. Play. That's the key on this one. Play. I'm going to choose yellow, green, and red. Red that leans, the red here in some cases leans a little bit towards violet in some places, but they are sort of opposite each other on the color wheel. They do things to each other. Well, let's just look at one way we can guide the eye is using color, or the various values of color, to gradate. So we could start out, for example, with a dark green. Now I put that there, your eye goes there first, and now I can gradate that, and that will enable your eye to flow in the direction I gradated. So I begin to gradate in this direction, and I'll just pull some light over here and begin to gradate it in this direction like this. Alright, now that really is gradating. That is really working with the value of color. Now I'll start, I'm going to gradate just a little bit more here, get a little lighter. You see I'm just using that gradating stroke. Now you see what I did there? I made a contrast. Now your eye will go here, your eye moves there, and your eye goes here. It's becoming aware of how your eye moves. Now I can start gradating in other directions. So I'm just playing, and then I'll throw in a contrast. And watch what your eye does. Every time I throw a contrasting color in, your eye begins to move there. Now I'm going to throw in, let's just throw in a lighter color beside this and move it. See, I'm not going anywhere with this, I'm just playing. Just kind of seeing what the eye does as I move this color around. And let's gradate it. See, your eye moves more smoothly from this into that when I gradate. Now let's throw another contrast in right here. You see what your eye did? So I'm really guiding the eye with value, but I'm also guiding the eye with color. Well, I'm not going to create a whole little painting here, but let's just do a little something else here. Let's sort of create a little vignette around that and give it a little perimeter to live in, just for adding various values of this same yellow-green. Just using yellow-green here, nothing else. But I've got quite a variation of yellow-green. Let's lighten it up just a bit. I'm going to pull some white over here, like this. And let's lighten it up just a little bit. Create another value, and now we begin to get something else going. So let's do a little gradating here and here. I'm just going to create just this little bit of a square. All right, now we've got a pattern of yellow-green that is gradating and contrasting. We have contrasted and we have graded. Now there could be images there that would be doing the same thing. But this is just yellow-green. Now I'm going to introduce into that yellow-green its complement and let you watch what we mean by what it matters. It matters because we can use these to emphasize. We can use one color against another to emphasize. And when we emphasize, we pull the eye to it. So I'm just going to throw, now this color, you might know it as cadmium red light. It's a high intensity color, meaning it's fully saturated with hue. It doesn't have any green in it. If I just plop that down right there, your eye can't help but go right there. It's so different from the green, so different from the yellow-green. Even whatever value, even in this particular value, which is a lighter value than this is, it's very close to the value of this, but because it's so different in color, your eye goes there. Now let's see if I'm going to raise the value of that just a little bit. If you squint right in here, if you squint, you see it's very close to that value, but not quite the same value. Let's add just a little bit of white into that, make it a little lighter. No, that's not enough white. Let me pull more down. Okay, let's see. If we make it a similar value, will the eye still go there? Let's put it right here. You see, I made it a similar value. It's still different. Your eye will go there still. Let's put it on a little thicker right there. But you notice, do you notice how your eye goes here first? That's because it's more saturated. Now let's do something else. I'm going to reduce the saturation of that red by adding yellow-green. So I'm just going to begin to add a little bit of yellow-green to that red and reduce the saturation. Let's put it back over in the same one, in this value. And reduce the saturation, and let's see what that does to the eye. So I'll put that one right here. All right, now close your eyes, open them, and look. Where does your eye go first? Betcha it goes right here. It won't go here first because this one is reduced in saturation. The more reduced it is in saturation, the closer it becomes to neutral, meaning no color. And it will blend with the color around it. Even though it's so different, it visually blends with the color around it. Now, still, because it's so different, this is where the way your eye is moving. And even if I use some of that same saturation of the color and put it right here, now I've created kind of a four-sided movement. Your eye goes here. It goes here first, doesn't it? It goes here first, and then it kind of moves around within that area of green. Now I'm going to reduce the saturation just a little bit more. And you'll see that as I reduce the saturation, it loses more and more of both green and red. Let's put this right here, right there. Reduce it, then reduce it quite as much as I wanted to. Let's reduce it a little bit more, put it about right here. Now, if you notice, which one of these does your eye go to first? Your eye goes to those red parts first because they're in that area of green. you're becoming less interested in the green and more interested in the red. Some of you are going to say, not interested in it because I don't like abstract painting. This is not abstract painting. This is a color study. You'll notice that especially if you sort of squint a little bit, this is the least emphasized because it's closer to green. Now I'm going to pull it even closer because it is yellow-green, not exactly a complement. It won't get exactly neutral. It becomes more like the green. So I'm going to put it, I'll just put it right beside this one. Now you see, same value as that, but you see now it's getting closer to the green. Can put some more of that right here. There we go. Now you're feeling stronger emphasis of the ones that are more highly saturated. So we can use the saturation of color to guide the eye. And it doesn't have to be within a field. The green would be called the field now because that's where the action's happening. But it wouldn't have to be necessarily two opposites of like green and red. It could be warm and cool, any warm and any cool. I mean, this background could have been blue. The thing is that the saturation of the color is going to guide the eye. Now let's do something a little bit more. I'm going to go right back into the fully saturated color and give it a little competition. I'm just going to put it right there. Now see what happens. Your eye goes back and forth between those two saturations. And we'll see something else too. The amount is going to also influence how strongly it pulls your eye. Now, this is where your eye is going to go. Now, you can play with an exercise like that all day long and vary the amounts of saturation. You can vary the kinds of color, but the point is we are guiding the eye. Whenever we are using color, we are guiding the eye. And one way that we're guiding the eye is with the saturation of the color. Another way we're guiding the eye is with the value of the color. This is just a simple exercise. I suggest that you might try just playing with color. Forget about images and just play with color. While within the exercise, you notice what your eye is doing with the color. You could start out with any color using variations of the value of the color and notice how the value itself influences how your eye moves throughout the piece. Then you can begin to work with just the saturation of another color and start noticing how your eye will go there because it's so different. So that's to call your attention to the power of the saturation and the power of the value contrast of the color to help guide the eye throughout the painting. Be sure to view all of our quick tips. And while you're doing so, subscribe to the channel, click on the bell so you'll always get a notice when we produce a new quick tip, which is every week. And if you have a question, leave it in the comments section and we'll make a quick tip for you. Also, take a trip over to DianeMize.com where I have full-length lessons, downloads, DVDs, lots of other stuff there, some free stuff for you. And while you're there, you can subscribe to the newsletter, and that way you'll always be informed every time we do something new.